Well, I've realised in this last week that I've clocked up just over 4,000 miles on my CBR650 now. Had it since the end of June last year, and I thought it would be a good thing to share my likes and dislikes of the bike now with some mileage on it, a bit of experience. So, likes and dislikes of the CBR650F. Well, I love it's easy riding. Literally a beginner can jump straight on this, and you know, be careful as ever. Would have no issues whatsoever with this bike. For someone just starting to ride, there is more than enough power. In fact, even now, 8 months on, I'm never sitting and thinking, God, I really wish it had some more. And yes, I've got more used to it now, and I probably use the available power more than I used to. But yeah, no, it's fantastic. I shudder to think what a 1 litre superbike feels like. Yeah, an S1000 or a ZX10R, or that's got to be something else. And I'm sure that's something that I will. That's a route I will go down at some stage. So yeah, I love the easy-going riding nature of this bike. It really is all day long comfortable. The riding position is sporty, but not too bad. My knees aren't up around my ears. Quite comfortable on the pegs, and you know, my weight is not right down over on my wrists the whole time. The seat is wide, tapers down towards the tank, very comfortable. You can, on long rides, sit back a little bit more and pad a bit. When you're pushing on a bit, you can get up close to the tank and really lean over the front. It's ideal. The bars, as you can see, are not too badly raked and downward facing. They're not quite straight bars, but very, very comfortable, very easy to live with. You can easily ride this all day, and certainly not be thinking, you know, oh, my bum's going numb, my legs are aching, I need to stop and stretch. Yeah, you can easily do a tank full without feeling that way. It's set up quite softly. Now, I wouldn't be able to tell you what a good setup is and a harsh setup to a crap setup, but again, you know, I haven't changed it off the stock factory fittings, and I've not been pushing this bike anywhere near its limits, cornering or anything like that. But it's really, really good on British roads. It's not uncomfortable. Soaks up bumps quite happily. It's, yeah, really, really nice. A couple of things I've done just to make life a bit easier, a bit nicer, is I fitted a double bubble screen here. The screen it comes on with me, I'm about 6'1". I was getting quite a lot of wind buffeting at sort of sitting in this riding position, especially at motorway speeds. double bubble screen has really helped. That's about national speed limit. This helmet isn't quietest, but I'm not getting blown about. There's no real massive buffeting. Tuck down a bit further. It flows nicely over your head. You can then hear the wind. So yeah, that was great. And also, I fitted these mirror extenders. I found that the mirrors as they are, they're a good size, and you can set them up quite nicely, but you do get a bit of the sort of arms and elbows covering them up. And these mirror extenders, I think they're about 40 quid. Just push them out by about ½ inch an inch, and so now with my mirror set up, there's only about first quarter which is full of my arms and elbows, and I've got really good rearward visibility, which is nice. The only downside to it is filtering in traffic. It makes you just that bit wider, and it means that some gaps are a little difficult to get through. So yeah, I love the look of this bike. I think it looked really smart. Oh, look at the view out there. Always a great view from up here on the Hog's Back. Yeah, I love the look of the bike. I think it fits in really nicely in the Honda family. Looks sporty, looks aggressive. I personally love the tricolour scheme, which is why I went for this. The only thing is it, I say it fits in nice into the Honda family, it does, but it's slightly different. I mean, the new CBR300, the 500, and of course, yeah, we've got the blade, but the 300 and 500 look like mini blades. Same twin headlight setup, all that. This has got a single headlight. I mean, I like the look of it. I think it does look great, but I suppose they're trying to make it, look a little bit different. But I don't think it looks quite as good as the blade and those others. But from all angles, it looks great. Fat 180 section rear tyre. So yeah, everything's controls, switch gear, all quality feel. It's got the usual Honda Japanese build quality. Although there are a couple of bits on it that aren't quite so premium, shall we say. The rear number plate light looks like it's been stuck on with a bit of blue tack, and it wobbles around like mad. But the quality of the fit and finish and the plastics are really good. But then you'd expect so for the money you pay for this bike. It is more expensive than similar other bikes, a bit more expensive than the BR6 from Kawasaki. What else do I like about this? The brakes. Twin 320mm discs up front. It has got good stopping power. It lacks a bit of initial bite, but once you get them on and then squeeze them on, boy, they've got some stopping power. Comes with standard as ABS, as all new bikes now, I think, by EU ruling have to. Yeah, so the brakes. The one thing I don't like, probably getting into the dislikes now, the rear brake, the ABS kicks in really, really easily. I think it's, I don't know whether or not it's, yeah, the ABS is set up that to do that to be safe, or whether or not the brakes are too strong. I'm just a bit too ham-fisted with them, but I've managed to get the ABS on the rear to kick in on a few occasions, but only once so far on the front, and that was where I was a little bit faster than perhaps I should have been, and traffic lights changed and pulled up, and it was just a little bit greasy in the junction, and I just felt the ABS just kick in a little bit. Nothing major, but generally with normal use you wouldn't get the ABS to kick in, but it's reassuring and nice to have, that's for sure, especially for a new rider. What else do I not like about this bike? Generally, the fueling is really good on this fuel injection, but there is a little bit. It's kind of at about 2,000 RPM, 2,500 RPM in second. You know, where you're just sort of just on that thing between off the throttle and on the throttle, and I noticed that there, where if you're not just with a little bit of throttle coming on, that it gets very snatchy and jerky. So the fueling is not. That's the only one thing. The rest of the time, no problems whatsoever. Range on the tank is not bad. I've got no idea what size the tank is. 13, 14 litres, something like that, perhaps. But yeah, normally with a mix of riding, I can get 170 miles out of the tank. A bit more spirited, it's probably down to about 150. I mean, I say I could probably get more. It's when the warning fuel light comes on. But what I love most about this bike is it just puts a big smile on my face whenever I ride it, and I do ride it in all weathers, rain or shine. It's got plenty of fun. Right, that just reminded me of something I don't like about this bike. Yeah, this is sort of marketed as a premium level middleweight, but there's no bloody gear indicator. And do you know what? I think that's a real black mark. I know loads of people say, oh, you don't need a gear indicator on a bike, and you probably don't, but I have to say, when you're concentrating and you kind of let your mind drift off, you don't always remember what gear you're in. And there was a great example of, I was in 5th and I clicked up into 6th, but I didn't know whether I was in 4th and then up into 5th, and I had one more to go. I was in 5th and then up into 6th, and I tried to go for 7th, and I do that quite a lot. And you know how difficult And how expensive would it be to put a gear indicator on this bike? Most other new modern bikes do, and I just think that's a real letdown. Also, I mean, look at the instrument pinnacle there. It's LCD. I mean, it's fine, but I do think it looks a little bit dated. I think that could look a bit better, to be perfectly honest. Two things I don't like. But obviously, you know, bike in this price range, you don't get things like cruise control. Heated grips are an option. No such things like quick shifters or auto blippers. Some would say on a bike with only 85 horsepower, do you really need them? Likewise, no traction control, no electronics whatsoever. I mean, if this was being marketed as a true beginner's bike, traction control would be good. Mind you, it's not really needed at all. It has got beautiful roll-on power. Really nice roll-on power. And also, oh, it just screams and it sounds fantastic. Inline fours, that scream is superb, so intoxicating. But then, on the slightly down points, as I've mentioned, yeah, the exhaust, it's too quiet. The bike is way too quiet. It could sound beautiful, and I'm sure that's down to all of the new Euro emissions and everything. But it's a real shame. And there's no simple easy change. You can't just shove a slip-on can on it because of the way catalytic converter and everything is. You've got to replace the whole system. And I've seen and heard too an Akrapovic system, which sounds great, and also a full system by two brothers. That sounds wonderful as well. But the problem is that they're both, you know, £1,000. And I'm sorry, but I'm not going to spend a seventh of the value of the bike for that, just to get it to sound a bit nicer. I'd rather spend that money on other bits or on fuel. I'm really enjoying myself on it. Yeah, 300 quid, 350 for a slip-on. If you could, yeah, certainly. But I'm not going to go £1,000 for a full system, and that's a real shame, because I bet you could. Well, I know you can with those systems. This bike you can get sounding beautifully. So yeah, that's a bit of a pisser. So all in all, I am really pleased with this bike. It's comfy, easy to ride, it's really good fun. For me, I think it, you know, yes, it's a bit pricey, but I'm sure you can pick up second hand now, because this has been out for what, 2 years now. Pick up a 2-year-old bike for a lot cheaper, and I have to say, I think it is the perfect beginner's bike. Your first, let me rephrase that, this is an ideal first big bike. The other thing I suppose I should say, the handling, which now we're off the dual carriageway and motorway roads, it is really nimble. It's very flickable, turns direction well. I don't know what the weight of this bike is, probably about 200 kilos, something like that, 190, 200 kilos. It just feels so light on the move. And you can see very just from side to side without any bother. So 4,000 miles in. It's brilliant. It's such fun. Oh, it just sounds beautiful. Now this is where a louder can would be nice. Very childish.